There's a winter sowing seedling explosion going on over here. I have seedlings everywhere, and I'm going to show them to you. I'm going to give you a grand tour of my winter sown, milk jug sown seedlings for 2017. I'm going to give you a tour of everything I've got going on. And then I've got this down here, and this is, transplanting in action. This is all pre-transplanting time. So I'm excited to show you everything and tell you my count for this year. So before I get rip-roaring into this video, I'll tell you my count this year was 240 or 250. I stopped counting at 199, and then I put a lot more out. So I'm thinking about 240, including my no transplant winter sowing. So I usually give big reveals, opening the jugs and, just having them closed and then opening them and going through just a couple on each video. Today I'm not going to do that. Today I'm going to show you this pre-transplant, seedling explosion that I've got going on here. And then on other videos, I'm going to go into, like, most of these are tomatoes right here, and people have issues about their tomatoes. So I'm going to do a whole big reveal on my tomatoes this year that were grown in the milk jugs. I'm also going to do strawberries, big reveal, asparagus, big reveal, and probably pole beans. Like, that's a little pole bean right there, big reveal. And I'll probably do a couple more. I like doing one or two veg per video. So look for those. I'll have some links down below. Just going to give you a good overview here of what's possible with winter sowing, and then we're going to head on down and see what's going on in my transplanting. Pardon my mess here. I had one of my drawers that I found on the side of the road 2 years ago that was my plant stand just fell apart in the rain, so that's going to the trash. So anyway, right here I have tomatoes, all kinds of slicer tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, really nice looking zucchini, some pole beans, some spinach back there, more spinach over there, more tomatoes, lots of zucchini right in here, and a couple cucumbers. And just look how healthy those tomato stems are. I had a really good one. Let me walk around here. Can't really see that. They're just really strong, lots of root hairs on them. They'll transplant really well. These down here, I've got a bunch of kale. What's this one? Oh, that's a pole bean of some type. Some more tomatoes right there. And then over here I have my no transplant winter sowing. Make sure you look for the videos on that. It is extremely popular. It's actually becoming as popular as milk jug winter sowing. What you do is you take plastic domes of any kind you can find. These are upside down plant saucers. Drill your holes in top, and you put the dome over the container, so when you put the seeds in the soil, you don't have to transplant. You just keep them right there. And you can also do this in raised beds, in the ground, or in containers. So this is my salad bar, which I'll go into more detail in other videos. But I have all these domes, and you kind of have to hold them down with something so the wind doesn't blow them. Here's some cilantro. Just did a video on how not to cut your jugs, a mistake I made. I've got some radishes growing back in that super giant jug someone sent me. Thank you, Susan. It was really a nice gift. And I got cilantro down here. These are my little baby lime trees, lemon trees. I got a pear in there that hasn't sprouted yet. So that's just some of the plants I have up here. Now these down here are not ready yet. Well, these obviously are. These are the first ones I open. And let's zoom in. I got a lot of slugs this year, and I'll tell you why. I did an experiment on my drainage holes, and I don't like the outcome. I got a lot more slugs this year. I'll have a video on that. I got spinach, arugula, butter crunch lettuce. And some of these, like I said, like that lettuce right there, I have a bunch of them. I'll take probably 3 of them, and I'll just leave them in the jugs, and I'll take one and transplant each little lettuce seedling on its own, and it'll grow much bigger, full heads if I transplant it. But I also like eating baby greens. And then the rest of these, I kind of did it in 2 phases this year. I did it in early March and late March. So these are the late March crowd. A lot of them have sprouted, but what I've got going on in here is they're just not quite ready. I got, basil in there. Love my basil. I got some garlic, onions, just a little bit of everything. My asparagus, which we'll have that video on, which I'm so excited. All kinds of bulb onions, evergreen onions. So you can see that one's ready to come out, Mom. Let me out. That's kale. And so I have this little group here that are just popping at the lids. The reason I opened all these is they were popping out the tops. They're so excited to get out. So let's head down and I'll show you my transplant central for where I'm actually starting my transplanting. Now I know we're not supposed to have favorites on our children, but this garden is one of my favorites of my 3, well I have like 5 growing areas, but 3 fenced in gardens, and we built this one last year and I just love it. because it's knee to hip high. And this is where I put a lot of my containers. So some of them stay up there on the patio. Some were on the glass table all winter. And then some I just put right in my growing tubs like this. Actually, I didn't get almost no slugs up here elevated off the ground like that. So just a quick buzz through. And let me give you an overview first. So you can see I've got a lot that's come up from last year on my strawberry beds. I've got a big patch of garlic chives down there that are perennials that are going crazy. And I've got all my cruciferous down there, and I got these cups on stakes because I'm going to wrap them in tulle fabric so the cabbage moth doesn't get in. And I've got some plants already planted in here and some perennial herbs that came up again. And so all these seedlings you're going to see are getting planted here and throughout the gardens, wherever is the best growing condition for them. So on this one here, I've got strawberries. These are first-year strawberries. These are second and some first. And I've got this little row, this is what I do along the fence, of sugar snap peas. So every inch of my fence is utilized, so I saved it for this video to give you a big reveal. Actually, I'm a few days late. They're way big and gorgeous. So I just leave these in here, kind of countersink into the soil, buried, so the chipmunks don't eat them. And then look at that beautiful sugar snap pea. And then it'll do tendrils in 2 days, it'll just be grown and attached right up on the fence. Got a few weeds in there, that happens too. Whatever weed seeds were in there, and I'll just quickly pull them out. So each one of those is going to be its own sugar snap plant. I skipped this one, I have them down here, and I have them over there. So here is a bean that's going to go in, and it'll take up this whole corner. A yard-long green bean, both of those. And I only have to put like these 2 plants right here, and it'll take up like 6 feet of fence all the way down into this area just by those 2 little plants. I did it last year. I was amazed. Nice big arugula plant. See, when you plant them separate, they grow huge. If you plant them, 20, 40 seeds in the container, you're going to get lots of baby arugula, and both are fine. Here are my celery. I probably have 20 or 30 celery plants in there, and they probably will be opened in about a week or 2. And I've got some nice, those leeks are onions. Those are, American flag leeks. Already transplanted some of those, some Brussels sprouts and kale, more and more kale, some beets that were winter sown that I've already transplanted. That was 1 jug of beets, or was it 2? No, it was only 1 jug, and they've already doubled in size. There are my sugar snap peas. These are my perennial herbs that came back. Sage came back, oregano came back, and that's it. Those are new this year. This is going to be all my parsnips and Brussels sprouts. I got 4 little baby Brussels sprouts here. I bought at our plant sale because I wasn't sure if mine made it, and mine totally made it. So I'm going to do 4 Brussels sprouts in this big half whiskey barrel, and then all around that is going to be parsnips. And here are the parsnips. I'm so excited about them. I just ate them for the first time in my life like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I absolutely love them. So this is my first parsnips. These are my cruciferous here. I got all these red cabbage. And these are golden acre green cabbage right there. And they're going in here again, as I said, to be covered with the fabric right away. Now, it's going to be tricky because these have been out for a couple days getting used to the weather. So I'm going to have to go through each leaf individually and make sure there is no worms on there and no eggs. And just scrape them off. And then once I'm sure they're just completely pristine, I'll put the tulle fabric on. And we'll be good for months. Now this down here, this was 2 or 3 jugs of red onions. All these in the front are red onions, and back there are leeks. Never have grown leeks before, or red onions for that matter, from seed. And so I'm very excited about them. I hope my spacing is good, but that's a nice deep barrel for that. And then I think that's it. There's some more sugar snap peas that are coming up right there. So it's a very exciting time. I am going to be spending all of the next couple weeks transplanting all of these. And then I've got a bed up here to clean up. I've got already some seeds started up there. And then all my tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, the bigger plants. I got eggplant, some garlic, carrots down there. They're all going to be transplanted down in here. So very, very exciting. There's another grow area that's not fenced. Thank you so much for being with me, and let me know what you think of this winter sowing thing. If it's new to you or if you're a winter sower, drop down in the comments and let us know what your experience has been with winter sowing. and if you're transplanting, what you're loving winter sowing. So anyway, thank you so much for being with me. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell next to the subscribe button, and then you'll get notified every time I do a new video. There's a lot going on this season. Sending you much love from my garden to yours. Bye-bye.